No, bear with them again. That when you say, I'll continue our virtual convention, and then I'll hear a presentation from Eric, which the part of our program, or actually a presentation on BAM. So she was something anything on that, or Jamlo team Eric we in something about it, and then I will care any questions or carry your arm could carry clarification from Eric. So Eric Marcin, over to you. Allah to on in our beautiful
Okay, thank you. Chat away drum. Mo kwa lonje wa mati ya presentation ni lambara. Okay, for market, so at least just to express my thanks to the NFU-ESCO for doing all its best during the current year in order to hold this convention. It has not been easy. Yeah, I know what you guys are going through, and to still succeed in putting up this, irrespective of how many people do turn, it's a massive effort. So just want to express my sincere appreciation and congratulations, because the 2 years has not been easy. Yeah, not to take much of your time, I think we can just get started. The story of MBAM is that of, I'll put it this way, is that of community effort. And it is, I consider MBAM as an offspring of the coming together of our communities, as an offspring of the NFU, especially the NFU conventions, because the success down the line will be down to the success of NFU, of being able to organize its various chapters to come together for people to meet and greet and to get to know each other and to get to discuss with others, to know what their aspirations in life are, which brought together people in order to sit together and know that they have, a common challenge of, trying to find solutions for their people. Now, as regards in general, I'm going to split the presentation in maybe 2 or 3 short slots, depending on how much time we have. I'll first of all just play the video, the normal video, which I think some of you must have seen on various social media platforms, which summarizes the concept of MBAM itself. And then secondly, I'm going to go through a PowerPoint presentation on what MBAM is all about. And finally, if there is still enough time, we can then look at the current platform itself is still a work in progress, because we are still expecting, the finalization of our documentation back in Cameroon, the incorporation, which will then lead us to sign some agreements, which will then permit us to have the necessary APIs to integrate on the platform, which we can then have like Momo and Orange Money and EU Money, integrated with them. So to get started, let's just start with the video. I'll just share my screen so that we can then follow up. Okay, yeah, let's go.
Berry is a local farmer. She farms garden vegetables and sells to the community. Enanga is the village nurse who cures the sick and helps deliver babies. Nana is the state administrator and also owns a community school. Fon is a family head and shopkeeper. They all belong to the local community meeting, which holds monthly with financial contributions. The shortage of cash limits their participation and exchange of goods and services. They also face potential risk of loss and theft moving to meetings with cash. Fon has relatives abroad who want to send remittances, but cash collection points are limited and costly, particularly during crisis period. Here comes MBAM, a revolutionary solution. MBAM is an e-money product, an e-commerce marketplace where cash can be transferred between participants or goods and services bought and delivered to participants. It is secure and keeps full unaltered transaction records. Total disposable e-money reflects exact cash deposit at licensed bank. You can use MBAM through the internet, mobile application and SMS. With MBAM, your money is secure and you can send to another or buy and sell goods efficiently. Join us on the MBAM train and empower our communities.
So great. That was pretty much in a nutshell, a summary of the concept of MBAM. At the moment, I'm just going to run through with you now on a PowerPoint presentation, which gives now in detail what the entire solution is about. Okay, just a minute. Great. Okay. So I believe, most of you have come across, this great guy who is called Professor Mohammed Yunus. Professor Mohammed Yunus is from.
We cannot see your screen.
You cannot see my screen. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
let me stop sharing.
On the...
Yeah. Okay. So let me go back. Share again. Share. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes. Yes. Good. Good.
Okay. Right. So okay. So so I was talking about this guy, this great guy. He's called Professor Mohammed Yunus, and he's from Bangladesh, and he's a pioneer founder of Gremian Bank. Gremian Bank is one of the banks that pretty much revolutionized the entire banking system in the world, and it has made so many bankers caught off guard. He pioneered the concept of microcredit and microfinance in the early 2000s, and the success of this made him to be awarded the Nobel Prize. And the concept was simple. Yeah, it was just the concept of empowering groups by themselves, because he believed that in order to bring out communities from poverty, you need to empower them so that they can be self-reliant and rely entirely on their efforts in order to get out of poverty. Now, if we look at the current banking system in our region, we have basically what you call agency banking. What are the characteristics of agency banking? You have they are highly regulated, their costs are extremely high, and they are physical. What do I mean by physical? They have what you call a brick and mortar, because if you go back to Cameroon, currently all banks, there is a physical location where you have to go into the bank in order to carry out banking transactions. But in early 2013, going forward, there was this revolutionary technology that came on board, which is called FinTech. And pretty much FinTech is just the use of technology in order to carry out, financial transactions. So FinTech has completely revolutionized the entire banking industry. And the good thing is that it has basic characteristics which are pretty much similar to agency banking. For instance, they are also highly regulated, but it is slightly different due to the fact that its operating cost is very low, and more often, the entire infrastructure is kept in the cloud. So we've been hearing about cloud, for the past months. This morning we had a cloud session of the kids who are being introduced into the banking into the cloud space. And for that, I do also thank BAN for really encouraging our kids to get into this space, because that is the future. Now, let us look at our country currently. It's not only Cameroon, it's pretty much the entire Africa, because they share the same similarities. Now, let's look at the good sides. If you look at the good sides, about more than 60% of the African population or the Cameroonian population is under the age of 30. It is currently estimated that about, the median age of African countries is 19. Now, what does this mean? And this means there is, a steady increase in demand for resources, because these people are growing, and they are demanding resources, and they want to live in the current period. We are in the fourth industrial revolution, which is called man and machine, as you realize. And currently, we are talking all about artificial intelligence. Everybody back home now wants a cell phone. They want to have Netflix on their phone. They want to they want to be on YouTube. They want to be on social media. This is characterized by rapid industrialization and a rapid demand for resources. Now, if you look at Cameroon also currently, it is estimated that more than 80% of the population above the age of 15 currently own a mobile phone. This is significant in the way the mobile phone can be used in order to change the way we live. Now, let's look at the not so good side of the region. It is estimated that above 80% of our economy is in the informal sector, which means that this is untaxed. This means there is pretty much no tracing and no trail of how this sector contributes into the formal economy. Now, it is also estimated that, well, in the results, what was published by COBAC in 2015, COBAC indicated that only 10% of Cameroonians above the age of 15 had bank accounts. In 2019 and 2020, it was still estimated that below 20% of Cameroonians above that age limit had bank accounts. This is very significant. Let's look at this this way. We now have 80% of mobile penetration within the population, and only about 20% of that population have bank accounts. What if, with the use of the mobile phone, you can bring banking to the unbanked using FinTech? Now, another consequence of the not so good sides is also what we call the absence of benchmark data. In Cameroon, the most recent official census that was carried out sometime in 2005, which shows that within a 15-year period, there was census. There is, I don't know if some of you have tried to carry out, say, research, whether it is desk research or physical research, in order to get data or information from our territory. It is extremely difficult. And to that, we realize that with the absence of statistics, the building of economic models is now very difficult. Now, what are the problems that MBAM wants to, so what are the problems that we want to solve? The problems that we want to solve are fourfold. It is first, the problem of financial inclusion within the rural communities. Take for instance, in So today, there is no official bank. And so all the banks, because of the crisis, have moved out of So. The last unit that was in unit that was in operation, apart from Kipul, the last unit that was in operation, I think it was Express Money, yeah, which was pretty much robbed, and they decided to leave. Yeah. So today, if you are to send say money to our loved ones back home in So by MoneyGram or Western Union, the person will have to travel all the way to Bamenda in order to have this money cashed. Now, the second problem that we are trying to solve is the problem of, say, the high cost of holding physical cash transfer and remittances. Sending money back home is a hurdle. Take, for instance, if we have to send money to Western Union or MoneyGram, it means the person has to move all over to Bamenda in order to get this money cashed, or has to transfer it from the MoneyGram or Express Union onto their mobile money or Orange Money platform, which is going to be charged in order to get it cashed. So that is another problem that MBAM is trying to solve. The third problem is that of the stifled entrepreneurial opportunities and lack of exposure of the growing consumer base. This leads to say, limited exposure of our local entrepreneurs. For instance, the farmers back home. Very few farmers say, a farmer, for instance, like in a village where I come from Banten, they have pretty much no access to capital, no access to finance. They don't have access to any bank opportunities or any credit union. There is no credit union in Banten. So what if there is this farmer in Banten who wants to carry out a farming project? For instance, Banten is a landlocked region. What if this farmer wants to do fish farming? Fish farming is one of the activities that is very high in return on investment. And it pretty much costs just a meager 150,000 or 200,000, and you can get a fish farm operational in Banten. But because of excess of capital, this farmer cannot be able to carry out his fish farm. Now, the food problem that we are trying to solve with the platform is that of the absence of credible statistics in the informal sector. We should be able we should be able to have enough data from the system that can enable us, not only us, but the different participants, the different stakeholders within our ecosystem in order to carry out meaningful economic models. Now, what if there is a secure and immutable solution that can really unlock the economic potential, especially of the rural masses, by capitalizing on the extensive mobile phone penetration in these markets? That is pretty much what MBAM is all about. Now, what is the solution? The solution has as channels. As channels, we have the smartphone. Say through the smartphone, you can either have on say through your computer, say through the internet, or even those who are using feature phones, you can have it say through your feature phones as an SMS stuff. And then there is also the possibility of including what you call near field communication cards. Near field communication cards are cards that function pretty much like a credit or a debit card, where down the line, take for instance a Ya or a Tai in Banten, who does not really know how to operate either a smartphone or a feature phone, can still have a MBAM account using a card in order to carry out, say, to receive or to send money. Also with students, for instance, telephones are not allowed at schools. What if a student who is, say, at school or even in primary school can have an MBAM account, where using that NFC card, the child can still go and buy, say, like food for lunch or a drink using that MBAM account. That is what we want to do. Now, as regards the features, MBAM is conceived completely different from the way, say, a normal company operates. For instance, the way normal companies will operate is that when they have a business idea, they will sit in their laboratories and conceive the project, work it out, and then bring out a complete solution into the public. But the way we worked was trying to include, to have the community to participate in the conception and in the design of the MBAM platform, so that we can identify the challenges that we face in our communities, and these challenges being taken into consideration in the way the platform is built. Now, the MBAM platform, as regards other features, it is a platform that is very scalable, is very reliable, and it uses please, you might excuse me because there is a bit of noise behind me. I'm in an area where there is so much there's so much noise going on. Please, can you excuse me? Sorry. Yeah. So sorry, just to come back to my presentation. The platform is scalable, reliable, and it uses a strict implementation of security standards. We are using the most updated technology on the MBAM platform, the technology that is also used by banks in order to provide the solution. Now, if we look at the ecosystem of MBAM, how is it structured? Take for instance, at the beginning we have what you call cash in. Say, for instance, if you want to send money to somebody, you have to create your MBAM account where you will then transfer money into your MBAM account, and then this money in your MBAM account can then be transferred to other participants on the platform, whether it is say for the person to cash it out or the person to use it in buying a service on the MBAM platform. Now, generally, when money is sent to other participants, the tendency is always to cash it out. But when you cash out money from the platform, you reduce the added value that money that you put within in your community can create. So it is generally realized that when money enters like a Jewish community, the money circulates within the Jewish community about 12 times before that money leaves the Jewish community. Within the African setting, it is estimated that money circulates only 3 times, which means that the added value that cash injection has into that community is very limited, unlike the Jewish community. So we want to build MBAM in such a way that the money that is injected within the MBAM community circulates, because as money circulates within that ecosystem, it creates value. There is value that is added onto the system, whereby the people get enriched, the community builds wealth. This wealth can be transformed in, say, industries and factories, whatever factories across our territory, which now develops in a social perspective the entire population. And the cycle continues so that there is continuous injection of capital within the accounts in MBAM, and it circulates within the MBAM ecosystem before even leaving the ecosystem. Now, if you look at the service illustration or what is in it for me, if there is one slide that I want us to really concentrate on, it is this particular slide. For instance, we are looking at MBAM now as, say, a product or a solution that is being brought in by a MBAM team, introducing it into the NFU. But what is in it for the NFU? What is in it for each of us as participants? How can we benefit from this MBAM? As regards the different stakeholders that are on the MBAM platform, you have what you call the MBAM platform itself, which is the platform that carries out, say, the service provision. You have an anchor bank, because for MBAM to function, we need to partner with an anchor bank, which is a licensed and regulated bank that is existing in the country, in the area of jurisdiction. And this is the bank that holds in custody the physical cash that is injected onto the MBAM platform, because the electronic money that is present on the MBAM platform has to be replicated as physical cash that lies within the coffers of the bank. Now, you also have, say, what you call super agents who are brokers, and then the agents on the platform. The super agents and the agents can be like you and I. For instance, the NFU can be like a super agent, the super agent, and then the participants, say you and I, who are, say, users, we can be, or we can be users that get onto the platform through NFU. What is the advantage of us getting onto the platform through an institution like NFU, or let me say our various chapters? Say the NFU can be the super broker, and then the agents can be the various country groupings. For instance, like Bonkitati in Ireland can be the agent, and then I myself, as a member of Bonkitati, I can then be a user getting onto the MBAM platform through Bonkitati as the agent, and Bonkitati being brought onto the MBAM platform by the NFU as the super agent. In that way, all transactions that are charged a commission that are carried out by me as a user on this MBAM platform, a percentage of that fee goes to Bonkitati, and a percentage of that fee also goes to the NFU. So this creates what you call passive income for organizations like Bonkisheri, Banning UK, Bonkitati, and also creates what you call passive income for an association like the NFU. So the NFU at the end of the year might realize, say, an income which can then be used in buying maybe end of year, say, like gifts that can be given to members, or organize even parties. Why not? So that is why I say that if there is only one slide that can be of interest for you and I, it is this particular slide, because anybody, depending on your aspect, can become a super agent or an agent, what you can do. And through that, you can make money from the MBAM platform. Now, let's look at the market. Cameroon has an estimated population of about 27 million. In 2017, COBAC, which is the financial regulator of Cameroon, realized that only 2 to 3% of the Cameroonian GDP was transacted using electronic money. Meanwhile, in East Africa, in countries like Kenya and Uganda, Tanzania, you had about 60%, 60 to 80% of their GDP was transacted on M-Pesa, which was their main e-money platform. COPAC then realized that the Central African zone, the CEMAC zone, was on the back foot, and they decided to revolutionize the entire system by liberalizing the entire e-money space in Cameroon. And a regulation in December 2018 was issued by the central bank governor, which created what we call payment institutions. Payment institutions, well, what are payment institutions? Payment institutions are institutions that, like MBAM, which are not regulated by the central bank need to partner with a regulated institution like a bank, like a regulated bank, in order to provide the electronic money, to issue electronic money within the CEMAC zone. So that is the sweet spot that MBAM is capitalizing on. And COPAC, in their projections, they believe that in 2022, next year, the percentage of the GDP that is going to be transacted on the platform is going to increase to about 6%. But look at it this way, 6% is still very far off from East Africa, which already transacts 60 to 80% of its GDP on electronic platforms. Now, when we look at the market size, how do we estimate the market size? Let us start with our own region, in the Northwest region. We do believe that when BAM gets operational, within a 3-year period, it is a gradual process, within a 3-year period, we do believe that we can increase our market share to about 70%. These are conservative estimates. Within the Southwest region, we do believe that we can raise it up to about 30%. And within, say, the Littoral and Central Province, we believe that we can cover about 10%. And within the entire national territory, we do believe that we can cover about 10%. These are just, conservative estimates, but which are milestones that we do believe we can attain, depending on how our service provision is rolled out. Now, let us look at the opportunities. As I said, COPAC currently estimates that next year in 2022, about 6% of the GDP is going to be covered, is going to be transacted based on, on e-mobile platforms. And that 6% is pretty much, about 1.2 billion US dollars. Now, in East Africa, it is, as I said, 60 to 80%. So this shows the massive opportunity that still exists within the market for such a solution in Cameroon. Now, who are the main competitors on the ground? The main competitors are, as you know, MTN with the Momo Orange Money, and issued by Orange, and then EU Money. So these are the main 3 competitors as regards e-money. And when we look at, the other service provision, which is the e-commerce side of the business, the main competitor with the e-commerce is pretty much Sell and Quick, which is pretty much like an eBay or an Amazon in Cameroon. Now, how do we differentiate ourselves from the competition? First of all, the way during the conception, Momo and Orange Money was just introduced within our communities. We had no part to play in the build-up, in the conception and the design of Momo or Orange Money. But with MBAM, we involved the community in order to build a solution that can be accepted by the people, that the people can relate to it, that the people can take ownership of it. Secondly, the community impact. With our competitors, the community impact is very limited. Meanwhile, with MBAM, the community impact will be extensive. As regards the cost of running Momo and Orange Money is very high, it's extremely significant. Meanwhile, in MBAM, we want to have a very lean structure, which will make it, very affordable, very low and affordable to our client base. And then as regards, the corporate social responsibility, with our competitors, it is very limited due to the fact that it is based on their will. Meanwhile, with it is going to be very high. Now, if we look at if we look at the various potential use cases of MBAM, what are the potential use cases? We have social groups, for instance, like Njangis, organizations, the credit unions, any organization that has membership can use MBAM in order to transact on their, using the platform. You also have remittances. You can, for instance, you and I that are out of our communities, that are out of so can use MBAM in order to send money to our loved ones in various locations. You can also empower, people on the ground through agriculture, the various entrepreneurs, whether it's say, an agricultural entrepreneur or a retail entrepreneur or somebody who has a school or somebody who has, say, a hospital. So you say through bill pay and all the rest. Also, there is also the potential of including, we are looking at the potential of including pharmacists on board, so that even you and I who are abroad, we can say, most of us have our parents who are now on long-term illnesses and back home. The tendency is that when you send money back home for them to buy their medication, they will use, they have so many problems. The tendency is always to catch the money and use the money in solving other problems that to them, they consider key. For instance, like high blood pressure. High blood pressure is a type of disease that does not really hit you. So instead of maybe your parent going to buy his medication for high blood, he will then look at the pressing concern. Maybe there is no food at home to eat, or there is no jangi to contribute. He will then use that money that you sent in order to solve those things. So we want to create a system where you can have, say, you can pay their bills directly to this pharmacy, so that your parents, in their convenience, can go directly to the pharmacy and get the medication that they need. So, and as I said, the various platforms can be, say, using the mobile phone, say, and the NFC cards when the certain release will come out, or through online platforms. So, in conclusion, what are the various forms? Say, for e-money, we believe that e-money should be affordable and it should be very convenient, and it should be telephone agnostic. For instance, you don't need to have an account with MTN or with Orange in order to transact with BAM. All you need is to have say data on your phone or access to data using your laptop, and you'll be able to carry out transactions. As regards e-commerce, we want to make sure that say being abroad should not be a handicap for you to at least assist, say, send money to your, say, or even buy items from a supermarket. You can decide to buy a bag of rice or a crate of drink or a carton of wine from, say, Pashika's, say, supermarket directly using your phone here abroad, and getting that particular item delivered maybe to your parents back home where they are found. So as regards the entrepreneurial opportunities, say the platform, that the entrepreneur or investor portal, we also do believe that there should be, say, financing businesses in our rural regions, like in Banten, should be possible. Let it be possible, because the only way you can empower your communities is by giving them that access to finance, access to capital that they can. Because, for instance, you and I, having been abroad, like, for instance, that same fish pond that I said somebody in Banten might want to create a fish pond, which might cost him maybe 200,000 francs. You and I, we might have a loose 200 euro or 300 euro that we can just feel like empowering our people by investing into these farmer back home on a particular agreed return on investment. So it is a win-win scenario where you're investing back home within your community and getting a comfortable return on your investment. And at the same time, the entrepreneur back home is also capable of raising finance back home. So that is what we are trying to solve. So as regards to the various portals, so this is just the mobile app. We have the mobile app, which is still, as I said, in development at the moment. We have the online access portal, and we also have, say, the SMS possibility. So this is pretty much, in a nutshell, the entire presentation about MBAM. Maybe if there are questions, I can address it, and if we still have maybe a bit of time, I can then maybe show the platform by carrying out a test transaction, how you can send money from A to B on the platform, so that our people can see. So I'll just wait for say maybe questions. If there is anybody who has any question, I can address the questions before. And if there is enough time, then you can then let me know, and I can do say a physical say a demonstration on the platform as of now. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for that succinct presentation, Eric. I think let's just take 2 or 3 questions, maximum 3. And then after those questions, there is still enough time, Eric. You can then have do some presentation. So I see already 2 hands up. That is Ben came first, then after that, Kisife will come up. Is there another person who want to ask the questions? Let me just have all those people on board. I need just one last hand up. If not, we proceed with the 2, and please, we'll just make it 3 questions, and then Eric will do the final demo, and then yeah, and then please, Eric is always here with us, and if it happens that we need another session, I'm sure Eric can find time for that. So I will allow Ben come in and come in with your question. Ben, go ahead.
Hi, Eric. Thanks for your presentation. Actually, it was really, really good and quite interesting indeed. And just one quick question first. MBAM, is it an acronym or is it... hello?
Sorry, yeah, I didn't get your question very well.
No, the question is MBAM an acronym or is it just the name of the organization? And
okay, no, MBAM is pretty much the name of the organization. It's not an acronym. It's just,
okay, it's
yeah,
like body. Okay, right. And you did mention something about there was a slide there that I was lost somewhere. The slide which you said was the most important part of it. I didn't quite really get the link for the where you had the brokerage and the agent, and so how does like if you could quickly go back to it. And I did miss something. Yes, I did miss something. The middle connection there for the.
Sorry, yeah, I'm in a very noisy environment here with kids behind, so I'm sorry. Maybe you can just rephrase your question a bit again. I'll get it then.
No, I was just saying that maybe you could just quickly touch on that again. I didn't quite get the link, or I got missing somewhere. Yeah, okay. The link there.
Yeah, as I said, to be honest with you, this slide, as I keep saying, is the most important slide for because what is a project? What is a solution? Yeah, to empower people. You see, in order to empower people, people have to see what is in need for them. For instance, using Momo and Orange today. Why do you use Orange and say Momo and Orange Money? You just use it in order to send money from A to B, from participant A to participant B, or from B to C and C to D. But you pay charges, but you gain nothing from it, right? Now, as regards what we are trying to do with MBAM is that we want to empower our communities using this platform. What I said was this: if there is one thing that is of prime importance, it's this particular, say, this area that is shaded in yellow. For instance, let's take let's look at our unions, say our various meeting groups. Say like myself, I am here in Ireland. I'm a member of Bonkitati. You are in the UK. You are a member of Banning UK. Take for instance, and then we have our umbrella structure, which is the NFU. Now, if the NFU, so how does the system work? It is like a pyramid. You have the NFU on top of the pyramid. You have, say, Bonkitati, Banning, Bonkisheri, Bongbati, or the other the unions as, say, like as the middle section of the pyramid. And then you have the members of these various unions as the lower level. Now, what if, for instance, the NFU becomes like a super agent on the MBAM platform, right? And then Bonkitati, which is the union in Ireland, becomes an agent on the MBAM platform. And then me, for instance, I am a member on the platform. Now, I am introduced to the platform by Bonkitati, which is the agent. And Bonkitati is an agent that is controlled by the NFU, by the NFU EU, which is like the super agent. Now, what happens is that if I carry out, for instance, I send money back home. Let's say, for instance, I send 100 euros back home, and I am charged a commission of, let's take just an arbitrary amount, 2 euros, right? Now, if I send 2 euros, if I send 100 euros back home, and I am charged 2 euros as the commission on that transaction, a percentage of that €2 is going to go to the agent who introduced me onto that platform, who brought me onto that platform. And a percentage of that €2 also goes to the NFU, which is the super agent that brought, Bonkitati on the platform. You understand? So in this way, at the end of the month, Bonkitati as an organization, how does Bonkitati make money at the moment? Bonkitati does not make money in any form apart from the normal, membership contributions on an annual basis. In Ireland, we contribute, each member is required to contribute €50 on an annual basis. So, but at times there are people who don't contribute, which means that if they don't contribute, at the end of the year, we don't have any money. If everybody contributes, at the end of the year, we'll have 50 times the number of members that we have in Bonkitati. But what if there is a possibility of Bonkitati, apart from that membership contributions, if the transactions, because on a monthly basis, I send money home, and I believe that is what most of us do. What if that €2 that is charged as a commission, at any transaction that I do back home, Bonkitati receives maybe 50 cents or maybe 25 cents. And the number of transactions that I carry out within that year and the number of transactions that the members of Bonkitati carry out within that year, it means that Bonkitati indirectly receives a passive income, passive revenue on an annual basis. And NFU indirectly also receives a passive income. This is something that is pretty much revolutionary, that as I can say, because let us look at our associations back home. Take for instance, like Nsobati in Bamenda. Nsobati is the umbrella organizations of all groupings in Bamenda. What if Nsobati is a member, is a super agent on the platform, and the various Njangis that are in Bamenda, they are the agents on the platform, and there are various members say they also transact on the platform. It means that in Nsobati or the various Njangis that are in the Njangis that are in Bamenda, they will be having on a monthly basis passive income. That is the way you empower communities. That is for communities, that is for groupings. Now, you and I, say for instance, like Ben, you can decide that you have the capability of becoming a super agent or the capability of becoming an agent. Yeah. And for that reason, because there are going to be, say, like guidelines on what are the conditions, prerequisites of how you qualify as a super agent or how you qualify as an agent. If you qualify as an agent or a super agent, you can then, and you bring, and then you have, say, like members who subscribe onto the platform through you. It means that every transaction that those people carry out on the MBAM platform, which is chargeable, you as an agent, you receive a percentage of commission on that. So indirectly, you have a passive income that is coming directly to your pocket, to your MBAM account. And that is why I said, if there is one slide that is important for anybody in this, setting, to really have, say, an understanding about it, is this particular slide, because that is what is in need for you, which means anybody, any of us, we can make money from the MBAM platform, depending on how we want to use it. There are people who might not, who are not business oriented. They might just decide to be like mere users of the MBAM platform. All of us, we send money back home. All of us, we might want to empower our people back home, maybe by, say, investing, like for instance, like the case that I said, maybe there is a YA in Chakiri who has a fund that the YA might want to raise maybe 50,000 or 100,000. And I am from Chakiri or from Kar, and I want to empower my own people. And I see that YA's project on the MBAM platform. I can directly go and invest in that project, knowing that I'm investing in that project for a return on investment that is agreed mutually between us, maybe 5%, maybe 10%, maybe 15%. So automatically that year, without going through the credit union or without going through the bank, which is at times difficult even to get those loans, she can then have capital in order to carry out her transaction back home. So that is how we empower our communities. And that is the concept that we used in order to build this solution. So that it is something that is not only for the promoters, but something that is for the entire community. All depends on how we embrace it and how we want to use it when it gets functional.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Very well explained. So in a nutshell, it's more of like a pyramid scheme than.
Yeah, I'll put it this way. It is like a pyramid scheme if we want to empower our people. Yeah, just as you can say, you can just use it in sending your money, just as you send money using MoneyGram or this thing or Western Union. So I won't categorize it as a pyramid scheme. When you could categorize it as a pyramid scheme, it looks as if it is say like a Ponzi scheme that is out there. That is not say like the concept is different because how do we empower our communities? How do we empower our groupings? Yeah, look at it that way. How do we empower our communities? Because it is by having the resources that we have in place and making the money circulate within the platform that we empower our people. Because, for instance, even when MBAM is going to be operational, why would I send money back home using MoneyGram or Western Union? First of all, MBAM is going to be far cheaper than Express Union or MoneyGram. And secondly, you know that you are sending money to your people using a platform that is empowering your community. So those are the positive aspects that we want to portray out there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Eric, for that deep answer. Let's take the last question from Kisife so that you have time to do a demo, and then we'll come in. Yeah, go ahead, Kisife, and then I think Batu wants to come in. But Kisife, go ahead first then.
Thank you very much, Eric. I hope you can hear me because I'm in the train. I'm not so sure my connection is the best. Please just give me a sign if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh,
yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you very much for this awesome presentation. Indeed, I'm really, really proud of what you are working towards. It really looks, it meets the needs of what we are looking for, especially in times of the crisis we are having in Cameroon with banks not being reachable in the northwest, especially in Kumbu. Now, I have 2 or 3 questions. Just simply, you mentioned that you have to go through partner banks to be able to set up this. Do you have already an idea which partner banks in Cameroon we are looking forward to working with them as collaborators, because they are supposed to be the guarantors of these transactions, because they own the licenses for such transactions? And if yes, how are liabilities managed in this case? If these banks, for example, go for example bankrupt along the line, how are liabilities managed? Then you mentioned also that you could invest in projects on the platform directly. Now, does the platform stand as a surety when you're investing into projects directly? Because if I see a project on the platform and I want to invest in it directly, I need to have some sort of a guarantee that this person's project, when the returns that are expected are being generated, that I get the percentages which I expected from the investment which I made. So does the platform stand as a surety to guarantee this, for example? The third is, now we are having this idea. I do not know if this is the ownership of this platform. Is it something the NFU is coming up with, or it is some sort of a private business which you are looking forward to get contributions from NFU members and the local chapters within NFU? So I do not know the ownership regulations as far as this platform you're introducing are concerned. Is this some of an NFU issue or a private business which you are looking forward to get investments from NFU members and local chapters? Yeah, so that is it. That is it from my side. And to end up again, thank you very much for this very, very interesting and very captivating presentation.
Thanks very much, Kisife, for those 3 questions. Yeah, I'll just address them in their orders. Yeah. The first thing as regards the bank, they say the partner bank and anchor bank. As you know, in Cameroon, yeah. Well, as regards we have say as a financial institution, because anything concerning money, you have to work in partnership with COBAC. You have to be licensed. You have to be licensed in order to carry out financial transactions on the territory. And as a payment institution, yeah, the regulation, the regulation requires us to partner with a bank, with a regulated bank on the ground. As regards guarantee of whether the bank, what happens if the bank goes bust or not. What I can tell you is that we can only work with banks that are regulated and guaranteed by. I don't know if there is a particular, say for instance, like in abroad, here in Ireland, say money that you have in your account to the tune of 100,000 is guaranteed. So that deposit is guaranteed for any individual. So if you have 150,000 in your bank account, know that it is only guaranteed to 100,000. So that in the case that there is some sort of insolvency, you can only recoup that amount. As regards in Cameroon, that is not pretty much unfortunately the case in Cameroon. But the situation only allows us to work with banks that are regulated. For a bank to be regulated in Cameroon, there are pretty much stringent, requirements. It doesn't dismiss the case that they might be insolvent or not. Every financial institution can become insolvent. We have learned lessons from Merrill Lynch, from the bank of Morgan Chase, and all those big banks which at one time people thought they couldn't fail. But that is just that's just life, business life that we live in. But in Cameroon, generally, what happens is that when a bank does not meet up its prudential ratios, what you call prudential ratios. Prudential ratios are generally the sort of capital requirements that they require for operations. Generally, what happens is that if the country, the government will pretty much finance them. That was the case of the NFC and Union Bank in 2008, last year in 2020, which were recapitalized by the government in order to make sure that they remain afloat. So those are the things that happen. Yeah. So, but the thing is, as regards the amount that we have in our coffers is pretty much as secure as that particular bank is secure within the entire banking system. That is the guarantee that we have, and we don't just go out picking any type of bank. We also carried out our due diligence in order to make sure that the partner bank that we are working with has the relevant prudential ratios that was acceptable to us in order to carry out this transaction. Then, as regards your second question, which was the investment, using the investment portal and to invest back home. The way we want to position ourselves is as facilitators of this investment activity. We don't want to become guarantors of the investment activity. Nevertheless, as before, it is not any Ya or Ta or entrepreneur on the ground that will be able to raise capital using the platform. There are many scammers in Cameroon. There are people who are very creative who can come who can set up a shop in order to get investment from abroad, under the pretext that they have projects that they are carrying out. The way we want to position ourselves is to work with, communities. That's why we are saying that we are community oriented. Take for instance, as I made a case for Banten. If we are investing, if we are facilitating, say a project in Banten, for instance, a Ya or a Ta, who has been producing 10 bags of potato, and the Ya or the Ta wants to increase its production to 50 bags of potato per year, and decides to raise capital in order to have, employees that can work for him to increase that, that plan. What we do is that particular farmer who is in Banten, the farmer has to be vetted by the local authorities, say by the Village Development Association of Banten. So we are going to work with local village development associations to give us that comfort that the various parties that we are trying to empower within those communities are genuine. They are people that they know. And in all the villages, they work, because for instance, in all the villages in South, we have what you call the sangeries. Every village in South, for instance, in Banten, we have a sangeri. And in sangeri, we have about 2 or 3 shops that do Momo transactions. So all this, and this same traders who are in sangeri, these are people who have already been carrying out Momo or Orange Money transactions. These are the same people that we are going to be carrying, who are going to be like the MBAM agents in these communities. Now, these agents are going to be our proxies in order to vet the various entrepreneurs that are within their locations. For instance, if a farmer in Banten wants to upload his project, on the MBAM platform, we will need to have an approval from our agents in Banten and also the Village Development Association Executive Committee in Banten to approve that, yes, this person is somebody that we know, so that our investor who is using the MBAM platform to invest into that community knows that they are investing into somebody who is credible. And as the entrepreneur carries out, say for instance, the potato farming, it takes about 3 to 4 months. Within a year, the entrepreneur can decide to carry out a 3 times capital raising. Yeah, now these 3 capital raising, successful capital raising and reimbursement of the investment that was done already builds a credit score for that particular investor, say entrepreneur. And as the credit score increases, just like say abroad, we have credit scores and everything, so that it then gives the investors an idea of how credible that particular entrepreneur is before they can carry out their investment. So the more cash calls a particular entrepreneur does, the better becomes his credit rating when he pays back those investments. So that at the level of the investor and at the level of the entrepreneur, everybody is, say, at least there is a win-win, say, case. Now, the third question as regards, the ownership of MBAM, whether MBAM is, we are looking at raising money from the NFU or it's a private, a private entity, or we are looking at, say, contributions from NFU in one form or another. No, we are not looking for any contribution of from NFU or from any particular organization. The concept of MBAM is going to be a private, say, a private entity, which is going to provide the solution to the community. When we started at the conception phase of MBAM, we wanted to build MBAM as a cooperative that is, say, registered in Cameroon. But the problem that we faced during that registration process was that in order to become a member of a cooperative in Cameroon, you have to be residents in Cameroon and you have to be a Cameroonian national. Unfortunately, most of us who were on the MBAM project, we were not. We have foreign nationalities. Yeah, so automatically we are already disqualified, acting as say like promoters of the MBAM ideology. So already automatically that cooperative structure went out of the window, and we then approached a legal firm, which is considered say one of the best legal firms as regards FinTech in Cameroon. They are called Daniel Mukuri and Partners for advice, and they gave us say the advice that to register, the best form is to go private and do it as a simplified joint stock company. So MBAM is going to be a simplified joint stock company that is incorporated in Cameroon. And down the line, as the business say improves, the intention is also to open say the shareholding to the community, so that people who are interested in MBAM and who want to get on board might come on board, depending on how they want to invest. So that's how it is.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Many thanks.
Great. I'm happy your questions have been answered, Kisife. And due to time, I think, let me see. Let me just see. I think, yeah, Barton, you wanted to come in, please. Just come in there, and then we see. I hope, yeah, let's see how we go.
Okay, thank you very much, Prezi, and thank you, Eric, for that explicit presentation. I mean, I don't have a question per se, but rather just wanted to pick up on a few things that you've just indicated with regards to the MBAM platform and its setup, right? So, I mean, the beauty of what you were saying, what I can hear, is more or less that inclusion of MBAM and the community services we're talking about. I mean, if you think about transaction remittances, as you can see from the questions coming in, everyone here knows how that works, right? And everyone can operate on remittance, and everyone can, you know, I'm sorry, there's a lot of understanding around there. But and the beauty too here is the way you're stepping down the cost, you know, the interaction that BAM is giving between its members, and the fact that you can get into BAM. You know, you can credit your account in BAM from wherever you're sitting in Europe. You can credit it out in Cameroon via those channels. I understand that. But the other part of it, coming to our community thinking, is the fact that we as a South people tend not to always recognize our own selves. You know, a lot of us have a lot of talents, a lot of things we're doing, but a lot of us still push a lot of us down. Imagine that situation, as you're saying, you have a Bashika who's got a supermarket that is linked on BAM. So someone having an account in BAM can use his BAM account to purchase a Bashika. All of a sudden, somebody sitting in Belgium who's never heard of Shika, but needs a bag of rice to be delivered on BAM or to deliver to Tobin or wherever, already sees Shika on the platform, buys that bag of rice, right? Empowering Shika. And Shika in turn potentially wants to top up his credit. And then maybe there's one other guy who's sitting in the platform who is doing credit. And he, you know, takes part of that money, tops up the credit of the guy. And that guy wants to drink a beer. Let's take it further. He goes to a bar that receives BAM. And that bar is one of his people. So he's empowering that guy, you know, through BAM. So the beauty I'm hearing here is the way you circulate money, this way you circulate wealth within your society without people necessarily knowing that this is what they're doing. You talked about the Jews, and this is what has made the Jewish people so successful that they can turn this money several folds, empower their society several folds, taking it out of their society. So I see that beauty very much in BAM. You know, with regards to remittance, this is excellent. Reaching the last mile, being able to remit to Banten, and someone in Banten picks up that money at the same minute, it's just a wonderful thing, right? And then the third part of it, which is the investment, which I also like very much, is, you know, and the guarantor part, you know, you look at it, what you're saying here is an impact investment. Because I don't think that you're saying that people are coming to invest to look for, fetch for high returns on investment. Then you go to the capital market or wherever where you can get high investment. What you're doing here is that you're investing in a project where you're seeing the impact. As you said at the beginning, most of us have always been sending money back home. Every time you send money for project, for whatever, it's always diverted to other things. But imagine you empowering a guy in Banten, you know, to produce more potato. I mean, you can't guarantee that that guy is going to always produce 200 bucks of potatoes, so your return on investment is always guaranteed. But you would do your maximum to say, look, as a platform, we think that the level of this business and the mentoring that will be done in the background to be able to manage that business would yield you 2-3%. But what we are doing is that they're increasing that gas yield. Yeah, is making more money. Yeah, can be able to send a child to school. Yeah, can be, you know, the impact part of it overweighs all these guarantees and overweighs, you know, the return that you're looking at, right? So that was just to come to what Kisfe was asking a while ago. So I see you, you know, bringing a system here that has a whole financial inclusion within our society, and most important, because people can use word remit, they can use mobile, they can use anything, but the impact you're giving it to your society through this MBAM, I think this is what it should be, you know, rated highly vis-a-vis every other competitor that you will have in the space, right? I just wanted to add to that. Not a question, sorry, but, you know, just happy to add to that.
Great. No, great. Thank you very much, Martin, for coming into that. I know I will be great for Eric to do a brief transaction, but Gad, if you wouldn't mind, we'll start about 20.